Good day and welcome. Hello, Denise and CJ and CW and Sister Jeannie and Greg and all those others who are interested in what we do. Today is Friday, October 11th, 2024, and it is Free For All Friday, Fish on Friday, or I should say no meat, or Pekka Sacrificial Friday. Maybe that's a better word for it. Thank you for the new subscribers and the ones who leave. I get subscribed, unsubscribed, but that's because you think it's one thing and then you realize, oh my goodness, it's too difficult, too different from what I'm used to, and so you unsubscribe, or that guy's a whack job or something like that. He's crazy. He's a Lulu. He's nutty. All those sorts of things. Well, we're going to continue on with the nuttiness today when we talk about what's going on in the world of. We talk about me being nutty. This financial system, this weather system, this the ones who appear to be running things on a larger scale. That's all coming unglued, if you will. I had a brief chat or correspondence with Mr. Nobody, and I wanted to mention that right off the bat. We're going to, and I'm going to talk to him later today because I wanted to ask him some questions, get his input. But he gets quite the results because of his faith on his prayers. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to add back in the Ave prayer, the Sanctum Tuam in mulieribus, and what that means is holy in thy women, and or holy amongst women. I like holy in thy women, so that, well, because the prayer appears to have more effective power against the demonic, and especially helping women. So we want to definitely do that. I noticed that there's, in the world today, more and more women in charge of governments, and that gives some concern in that there's certain roles that are established by the Trinitarian Theophany, by God, Deum Matronam Nostra, Deum Iesum Christum, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. And if you deny roles, and there becomes confusion, and things become a little bit chaotic. It's just natural law. And so we're trying to bring that stability back to a peaceful, or back to a world, so that we may have peace. And this might help with some of that. Now, that being said, I have noticed, though, that there have been a lot of positive changes happening. Again, that might be a personal thing in one's own personal life because of their prayer life, or it could be what is happening. And however, with that being said, I have noticed in my endeavors an an increase in the ability to see our freedom better. Let me just try and put it that way. And like, for example, with this IRS thing, it appears that they are accommodating this new, and it's not new, it's just, it was hidden, this newly discovered avenue to our prepayment system for the creditors. All right, so I'm going to talk about that. We, the human beings that are alive, the man and the woman, are the creditors. And you'll forgive me, I've got a daddy long leg crawling above my head, so I keep looking up, make sure he doesn't drop on me. So let's move over to begin our good daily rising prayers, and then I'll continue on with what I got from there about being a creditor. I'm going to try not to make it too long today, but you know me, I get a little wordy sometimes. In nomine Dei, Matronam Nostra, et Dei misum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Trinitarian Theophany, of God, the Trinitarian Theophany, and humbly venerate the Divine Family. Most Holy and Venerable Trinitarian Theophany, Trinity, one Divine Family, I believe that thou art here present. I venerate thee with the deepest humility. I render to thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to thee. O most Holy Trinity. So I'm gonna try and implement that as well. This is also one of Mr. Nobody's suggestions. Instead of Trinitarian Theophany, which is more of a description, we will say the Holy Trinity, understanding that it consists of the Divine Family. And again, since we're on that subject, and again, as we look at, I don't know if you can probably see it, but the vision of Saint Lucia, the divinity has the roles as well in the picture, in the vision. Okay, and since that is a vision of the image, and we are an image of the Holy Trinity, in that the family is that set up here. So when that family is established on the Catholic faith, it is extremely strong, and what it appears is the wishes of the Holy Trinity. So using the words Holy Trinity, I think will be clear enough for those who follow and those who understand, and those who, if they don't know, if they first come here and they hear me say Holy Trinity and they assume it's something else because of what they've been told, they can, again, we refer everybody to the website to get some insight into the changes and the stripping of the divine, of Dei Matronam Nostrae, from that vision and from that image, again, which is a major problem. It has developed into the reduction of woman as a whole. And in latter years, in these years, there's been such a confusion amongst women because they don't understand and they refuse to accept their role. And of recent, as well as men, it's almost like they've switched, and it's caused such a bizarre reality here. You can see that the exact opposite of peace. So, almost holy Trinity, relying on thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain pardon of my sins, the help of thy grace, and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Matronam Nostrae. O most holy Trinity, I love thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of thee, and I forgive all who have injured me, and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Holy Trinity for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven and for the souls in purgatory. O most holy Trinity, I most humbly thank thee for all the favors thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in thy service. I consecrate to thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by thy love, or that would not tend to thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the Holy Trinity the graces which are necessary to us. O most holy Trinity, thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of thy grace. Deny me not thy grace, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O Dea Matronam Nostrae, I place myself under thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O most holy Trinity, Dea Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. But most of all because they offend thee, O most holy Trinity, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. And the reason we need to do this clarity with the definitions and with the words is because, everybody uses the word God like it were water. And it has to be clarified. And even the word God itself is a descriptive word. It's not a identifier. And so, we have to clarify that so that it's understood. People are starting to understand that now, though I see that in comments. They'll say, which God? And some who are pompous think, well, you don't know who. It's like, well, no, maybe you don't know who. All right, so let's get into, continue with the Strawman. So I talked a little bit about the Sanctum Tuum in Mulieribus, so bear with me as I try to put that back in, and let's really have a watchful eye on the effects that this has, okay? And please report back to me. Again, we have an extremely influential and powerful group of people here who, in their humility and in their virtuous nature, can accomplish and are accomplishing great things around the world. and we want to make sure that we keep it on track and have it be the most effective. Again, in humility. So one of the things with the straw man is that there's been some success with is the notice of liability. There's a form that a gentleman named Cal Washington had been working on. He was, if I remember correctly, he was the one helping to put out. I may be wrong. I am wrong. Never mind. It wasn't Cal Washington. But anyway, this notice of liability is from Cal Washington, and they are. It started with the smart meters on people's houses, where they would be measured for their damage and their harm caused by electromagnetic waves, microwaves, etc. So people didn't want them on their homes, and yet the electric companies wouldn't let them, and they were forcing them to accept them. And so he developed a notice of liability, and it's kind of like it's not like a conditional acceptance, but it is a very effective tool to get those who think they have authority over you, who do not, to accept liability personally for any harm that their actions may cause. All right? And you can put the notice of liability in with a conditional acceptance. So in other words, so if you don't want one of those meters on your home, okay, you would write up a conditional acceptance letter. And such a letter would consist that something like, well, I agree, I conditionally accept this meter to be placed on my house, or I accept to have this meter placed on my house under the following conditions. And then you lay out the conditions that you can prove that it doesn't harm anybody in the house, that you can prove that you have and will take responsibility and be liable for any damage that it does cause, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you have this document. You can add other things to that as well that you're concerned about. And you mail that off to the electric company. And, certified mail, you follow administrative procedures or process. And all of this stuff can be found. It's available. Businesses use it all the time against the people, all right, especially banking. Okay, so they know the rules. There's rules for time. There's rules for postage. There's rules for all of those things, which they abide by. So they can be used as well. So I gave an example of electric meters, but it can be any kind of offer that you're not comfortable with. And when I say offer, I mean anything that somebody who thinks they have authority over you to make you do something that you don't want to do. And another example would be taking a medical procedure that you don't want, or the wearing of a garment over your face that you don't want. There's all sorts of things. Wow, that spider travels fast. He's all the way over here now. I'm going to have to... What eats spiders? I need something that eats spiders. I'll get him after Mass. All right. So as to... So that's another... and again, with the notice of liabilities and the conditional acceptances, what you're doing is remaining in honor. And we want to remain in honor because they have been operating in dishonor. Okay, and this is again a natural law that the Holy Trinity wants us to remain in honor. Okay, and it's virtuous to be in honor. And you win when you remain in honor, okay, and you follow the process through. There is a woman in New Zealand, like I had mentioned, I think last week, Janine of the House of Arabella. And I say that because that's the way names are supposed to be, or of the family of Arabella, the House of Arabella, or something. That's how it used to be. Okay, there you had a family name, and then you were given another name. Okay, to really identify who you were by your family. So we have to say it that way. So this woman presented these notices of liability with conditional acceptance, and because she did it because her daughter had died during COVID, because of the failure of the system and the abuse of the system. They isolated her, they refused her treatment, they refused to recognize her, the daughter's type of diet and whatnot, and so she ended up dying. So the mother, okay, and as you know, don't mess with the mother of a child. So thank you, Dea Macho No Nose, right? She went and she learned all this, and just again, some people are given this in their life to do, and this woman was. And so she had her eyes focused, and she, in her heart, I believe that she has the Holy Trinity. She's confused right now, as most are, about what the Holy Trinity consists of. But in any case, she ended up, through these processes, administrative processes, now, and it's been recognized in the courts in New Zealand, okay, where she's in charge of all of corporate New Zealand. That includes the government. So it's amazing what one person can do. Now, unfortunately, again, I wrote a comment to her. I said, you can't put everybody under the jurisdiction of your God, because that doesn't work. We have the 3 keys, and she was talking about keys. Okay, they have 2 keys. We have 3 keys here. Okay, that's very important. So that's why we have a certain amount of responsibility as well to point this out. So this type of thinking is what we need to engage ourselves with, and not this fear of them anymore. Okay. Oh boy. So, okay, real quick, number 4, I'm learning and I'm working on some other forms with the IRS, because the IRS is the venue in which to access the credits, okay, for the creditors. We are the creditors. I mentioned that before. This system, this monetary system that's set up across the entire world, is controlled by the World Monetary Bank and the IRS and those institutions. And it is a credit system. And we are the creditors. The people are the creditors. Okay, they've been hiding that for so long, even though it's been hiding in plain sight. Well, now we've been able to access the credits. Okay, so all our expenses are prepaid, and we just have to know how to file the forms in order to get that accomplished. Somebody sent me an actual picture, like, of their IRS. I shouldn't say IRS, the United States Treasury refund check. that they had gotten. It was $1.8 million. And it was the entire check made out to her, and it was from all of her taxes that she's paid over the years, plus I think some interest, because the interest is what adds up when you don't get your taxes back on a yearly basis. So all those years that she's been paying taxes, business taxes, personal taxes, income taxes, all taxes, because she wasn't supposed to pay because she was a creditor. So she got all that back. It's happening, and it's not just her. So there's I've been receiving more and more evidence that this is not an accident or a mistake, as my brother-in-law believed it to be when it happened to me. So massive numbers of people are getting this information, getting this remedy, and access to their credits. And again, these credits are all are the amount of the national debt. So whatever trillion it is up to now, that's all credits that need to be moved back over onto the other side of the books to balance the books, but it goes to the creditors, and we are the creditors. So is it stealing? That's what my brother, when I was discussing this with him, and it's hard to grasp this concept. He's like, you gotta work to make money. I was like, I understand working is a good thing. However, in the system of credits, working as a slave, doing something that you don't want to do because you have to, because of this debt fear, is not the way the Holy Trinity wants us to be. Okay, it prevents so much peace. So, and again, I'm not saying that, remember, money, if you will, can be an anchor to hell. Okay, so this is where it really gets, why it's so important to have your virtues before you go out and get crazy with this. All right, it is not stealing. It is accessing credits and numbers that they have actually stolen. It's remedy. It's recompense. All right, that's one of my notes for today. There's so much happening in that realm, and I was saying before that there's two things happening. There's the good and the bad. Pray, and let's see how this goes. And I know you are all you're good, so good things will happen to you, and I've seen them happen already to CJ and Maria and myself. Mr. Nobody is getting there. Okay, soon. Hang in there. When in another, like I told you, I got to notice that they need more time to process mine, because I have a feeling they're going to do a complete audit of everything that I've done over the years, which is fine. Okay, they can do that. I don't have any fears of that, because now I know that I can access offsets if I've made any mistakes anywhere, and they're not somebody to be afraid of anymore. So there's good things happening, and there's horrible things happening to some. And we pray for those souls and for those people to come here, understand we're not perfect. We're still figuring out exactly what works best in a prayer that we say at Mass. Okay, this is we're rebuilding what was destroyed, the Mass, and prayers that took centuries to remove and destroy. And you know that game where you say one thing at in the beginning and you pass it through all those people and it ends up being something completely different at the other end. So we need to get back to that. And the only way that we can do that is through virtues, virtuous living, virtuous being. And it just makes me cry sometimes when I see, in a happy way, in a good way, the results of your virtuousness, your perseverance, the results that you are receiving, the relief that you are receiving, the peace. Okay, that's what living in this world is about. And again, there's some who are going to be called to suffer. Okay, and that's a higher calling. But if you are virtuous and you practice what you preach, and you end up suffering, it's because it's to help others, and it's not necessarily because you have to expiate sins. It's probably going to do that, but it's not the sole purpose. So work on your virtues, and again, tomorrow we're going to talk about the final transit of Saint Catherine of Siena, and then Sunday we'll go over the virtues again, and then we'll look into Saint Teresa of Lisieux. I keep talking about her. All right, let's begin with the Mass, the day, and I apologize for chatting so much this morning. But it's important. One caution I want to make to people is don't go barreling into the IRS until you have a firm grasp on understanding. Okay, that's the discernment process. It's very important that we have discernment first, so that you can come to that state of mind where you are comfortable with your knowledge and you can repeat it, because the IRS still likes to challenge those who think they know and don't, and they can get themselves in trouble. Deum vobiscum et quoque apud te. Oremus. O Holy Trinity, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one Holy Trinitarian Theophany, forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, Aucam maculatum hostium quam ego indinius famulus tuus affeditib Deum meum vivum et verum, pro innumerabilibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentiis meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus sere pro omnibus fidelibus catholicorum vivis atque defunctis, ut mihi et iris proficetat salutem. Deum qui humanae substantia dignitatem mirabilite condidis et mirabilis reformasti da nobis, pedui visatque divini mysterium, eius divinitatis esse consortis qui militatis nostrae, fiat dignatus est partaceps, Deum Iesum Christum Filium, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem salutaris tuum de peccatis clementiam, ut expectu divinae majestatis tuae pro nostra et totius mundi salute, cum adoris suavitatis ascendat. in spiritu humilitatis et in animo contrito, suscipiam te Deum Iesum Christum et sanctificat sacrificium nostrum et spiritu hodie, ut placiat tibi Deum matronam nostra et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni sanctificator, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificita blata prosequendo, et accepere hoc sacrificium tuo sancto nomini praeparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas concoblationem cum tibi afferimus a memoriam passionis, resurrectionis et ascensionis Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Deum matronam nostra et a Papa Peter Sanctorum, et istorum et omnium Sanctorum, ut idis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem et salutem, et idi pro nobis interceded in interim caelis, coram memoriam agimus in telis pedinum Christum Deum nostrum. Orate ut meam questrum sacrificium acceptare fiat apud Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipia Deum Iesum Christum, sacrificium de manibus tuis et laudam et gloriam nominis sui ad utilitatem quoque nostram totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apud te, sursum corda habemus a Deum. Gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te igitur clementissimi, Mater et Pater, Deum Matronum Nostrae, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per Deum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum, Deum Nostrae, supplices, rogamus et petimus. Uti accepta habeas et sanctificas, haec sanctam sacrificium irripata. In primis quae tibi afferimus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare, custodire ad honore et regere, digneris toto orbe terrarem, atque catholicae. Memento Deum famorum caetuorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We especially pray for Katie, Gage, Neil and Earl Lively, Floyd, Maria Josephina Mose, Mark Jr., Henry, Benedict, Barbara, Robert and James Santa Croce, Mr. Nobody, Ann Bultink, the Cantu and Duarte families, Michaela McLarnon and family, Janelina Laurie Aaron and family, Maria and the Lineweber family, the Cahill, Kendrick, Dasco, Nye, Tafur, Began, Wolf, and Kane families and their intentions. We pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sede Vacantis Catholic Council Office and Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. Pray for the end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of weather modification or harmful radiation waves. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, medium of exchange with no usury. We pray for courageous men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society. We ask that all quote-unquote gay marriage be banned, a reversal of the feminist ideology and a return to godly femininity. We ask that women cease working for Freemasons and corporations everywhere, and that they come to understand that raising of traditional Catholic families is a very high ideal and a necessity for sustaining a Catholic society. We ask that all pornography and the OnlyFans platform be stopped immediately and forever. We ask for the conversion of all sinners trapped in a state of mortal sin, especially for the ignorant. We also ask for the respect and the admiration and the importance of being a mother be exalted amongst society again. We pray for wisdom on how to prepare natural foods, grow healthy vegetables and plants and fruits, and raise clean animals. We also ask you to block the passage of any so-called pandemic treaty by the WHO, block anything by the WEF, which is all based on dying and death and submission. We ask you to destroy the satanic document of Vatican law that is the Jewish Talmud. We ask you to destroy Rome and the Vatican, transfer the recognize the authority of the Church, Catholic Church to be in Portugal. We ask you to give us the means in order to establish that church there, buildings, administration, etc. We ask you to destroy all forms of Freemasonry with its tentacles, satanic tentacles that are everywhere throughout the land, and bring the members into the submission of the Trinitarian Theophany through correct baptism and confession, and for its members to recognize that it is a Luciferian organization. All this we ask in accordance with the Trinitarian Theophany's holy and divine will. Et omnium, quero constantium coram tibi fides cognita est et nota devotio, pro quibus tibi eferimus, veruci tibi effrontox sacrificium laudis, pro Jesus omnibus, pro redemptione animarum suarum, pro spe salutis et economitatis suae, tibi credunt vota sua aeterno Deum vivo et vero. Communicantes et momorem venerantes, in primis gloriosae, semper Deum maternam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et beatorum martyrium tuorum Papa Sancti Petri, et Sancti Luci, et Sancti Jacinta, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum tuorum quorum meritis praecibusque concedas, ut in omnibus protectionis tuae monum et exilio periundum Christum Deum nostrum, quam oblationem de Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibum, consecratem acceptabilem quae feceti dineris et nobis corpum, et sanguinem fiat didictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridie quam pateretor, accepit panem in sanctus ac venerabilis manus suas, et derivatis oculis in caelum aete Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum suum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit, fregit didique luminis sui dicens accipite, et mandocate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simili modo postquam ceremonia est, accipiens et hunc praeclarum calicem in sanctus ac venerabilis manus suas, item tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, consecrave dedique luminis sui dicens accipite et vivite ex eo omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissione peccatorum. Haec est cum qui feceti disi me mono facetis. Unde et memores Deum nos servitui, sed plebs tua sancta justum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae, tam beate passiones nec non et inferis resurrectionis, sed et in caelos gloriosae ascensionis afferimus praeclarae maiestati tuae de tuis donis ad actis, supra quae propitio ac sereno vutur respicieri digneris, supplices te ragamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ibe hec preferibet manus tuum ut quod, exocatoris participationis a pro sanctum Deum Filium tuum, corpus et sanguinem subsenimus, omni sanctificatione caelestia gratia Dei per amor per Deum Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died. We especially pray for Katie Mason, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibum in Christum quis gentibum locum refigerii lucis et pacis sunt hodie est proclamar per Deum Christum Deum nostrum, perquem hic omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivibicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est tibi Deum Maternum omnipotentium unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea, matronam nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum, sanctam tuum in mulieribus, Dea matronam nostrae, matronam Deum Iesum Christum, misericordia nobis, peccatoribus nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos, quaesimus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ab omnibus malis, praeteritis praesentibus et futuris, et intercedente beata gloriosa semper Deum matronam nostrae, cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis da propitiis pacem in diebus nostris. Ut ope misericordiae tuae aduite et peccato simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbatione secori. Per eundem Deum nostrum Iesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum et quoque apud te. Haec mixtio consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum fiat accipientibus nobis in ad salutem aeternam. Pax tecum et quoque apud te. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum matronam nostrae, cooperante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam unum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacro sanctum corpus et sanguinum tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis, et universis malis, et fac me tui semper inharare mandatis, et atinum cum separare per nimitas, qui cum eodem Deum matronam nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum vivis et reinam aeternam. Perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indinius sumere praesimo, non mihi proveni ad inidicum et condonationem, sed pro tua pietate prosit mihi ad tutamentem et esse corporis et ad me delam, percipiendam qui vivis et reinas cum Deum matronam nostrae, in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem calestem accipium et nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Dea matronam nostrum non sundinius, ut sutetum est in tante de queribus napatronum mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sundinius, ut sutetum est in tante de queribus napatronum mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sundinius, ut sutetum est in tante de queribus napatronum mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quid retribuam Deum Iesum Christum pro omnibus quae retribuit mihi, calicem saetaris accipium in nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo, laudans invocabo Deum matronam nostrae et ab inimicis meis salvus ero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quodores sumus Deum Iesum Christum piedamente capiamus et immunere temporae fit nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus postum Deum Iesum Christum quod sum se sanguis quam potave et heriet visceribus meis et praesta ut in me non remaniat scelera macula quem purat sancta reficerum sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apud te. Oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech thee, O Holy Trinity, that thou mayest free them from all sins and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apud te. Ite mis est Deum gratia. Placia tibi sancta Trinitam, obsequim servitutis meae, et praesta ut sacrificim coroculis tuae maestatis in nullis auto di tibi et acceptabile mique et omnibus, proquibus irut auto liciti miserante propitiabile per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum matronam, et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gratias. O most holy Trinity, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most holy Trinity, Deum matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of God Jesus Christ, who was, is, and ever shall be, present here in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended, and through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and immaculate heart of God Our Lady, who was, is, and ever shall be, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. All right, there you have it. Thank you for attending today, especially for the Mass. And if there was somebody with an accounting background who really enjoys numbers and things like that, once I receive remedy for what I have done with the as a creditor, I'd like to help others learn and how to do the same. And again, I can't spend all my time doing that, but I will be able to spend more time when I receive that. I'll be able to retire from that other nonsense that I do. And so I would like to get somebody who really loves numbers and things like that to help with that. It will be very rewarding because there's nothing better than helping somebody get up on their feet. All right, please go and sanctify all those who you meet, as I hope I have done for you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.